Okay, we did
Yay.
it.
Hi,
um,
Jessica.
Hello, Kalima, and thank you everyone for being here today. I am Jessica Ramey Stender, and I am learning Instagram Live as I go. So thanks everyone for bearing with me. I am the Policy Director and Deputy Legal Director at Equal Rights Advocates. We are a gender justice organization. We advocate for the rights of women and people of other gender identities who have experienced discrimination, harassment, and other issues in the workplace, as well as girls and students of other gender identities who've experienced harassment and discrimination at school. And I am really thrilled to be here today with Kalima Ramsey Walker. She is a journey level sheet metal worker out of New York and some other places. And she wears many hats. Besides being an actual sheet metal worker in the trades, she also founded DMV Tradeswomen, and she is the co-chair of the communications committee of the National Task Force on Tradeswomen Issues. And so just as a quick background, the National Task Force on Tradeswomen Issues is a network of individual women who are working in the trades with the tools, like Kalima and others, those who work with tradeswomen to support and train women trying to enter the trades, and we'll talk a little bit about those pathways, as well as organizations like Equal Rights Advocates and other organizations that try to support women entering these jobs. Just as a little bit of context setting, we want to just kind of lay the table, set the table to get everyone oriented to the fact that these jobs for workers in the construction trades are generally very well paid, often have good benefits and pensions, which we'll talk more about, and are still only 4% women. And this is despite years and years of advocacy by tradeswomen themselves and organizations. And so I'm going to start with just asking you, Kalima, if you could just talk a little bit about what your pathway was to actually being able to enter the job in the trades and get a job in this area.
Sure. I'd like to start off by saying thanks for having me, Jessica. I'm very honored to be here and share this space with you. As a child, my dad owns his own home improvement business. So at like the age of 6 and 7 and on, I went to work with him. He would pick me up from school and we would go do plumbing work, sheet working, electrical work, all home improvement type things. So from a young age, I was exposed to the different trades. As I got older, I found a pre-apprenticeship called NEW, which is in New York City, which stands for Non-Traditional Employment for Women. There I did 6 weeks. I did a 6 weeks pre-apprenticeship program where they often brought in different tradeswomen already in their careers, and they would come in and give us a day-to-day, a little bit of, about what they do in their day-to-day work day. And how I wound up picking sheet metal was something in New York. When I was growing up, there weren't many people putting central air in their homes, so there was no need for sheet metal like that. So my dad and I never really did anything with sheet metal. So when I went to NEW and I learned about sheet metal, I figured that would be the best thing for me to do because it was something I had never done before. Fast forward a couple of years, I got into the apprenticeship with the sheet metal workers with Local 28 in New York City, where I journeyed out went through my apprenticeship, 5-year apprenticeship, and I graduated 2013, where I became a mechanic and started my my career as a journey person. I honestly, like, what I learned with my dad was all great. Like, I have a lot on cap, but my dad wasn't able to prepare me for being a tradeswoman in the field. So it was very imperative to be a part of that pre-apprenticeship and the apprenticeship.
I'm so glad you raised pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship, because I think for a lot of people who aren't as familiar with the trades, they're maybe not even aware of those types of training programs that really do provide this pathway for people to get into the trades. And even those pathways are very male dominated. And so I think your story just shows how critical it is to help women even learn about the existence of pre-apprenticeship programs and then apprenticeship programs, which are, earn as you learn. You are paid while you learn this skill, and then have this skill to enter a well-paid job in the trade. So I really appreciate you lifting up the importance of those programs. So we at Equal Rights Advocates, and then part of the broader National Task Force on Tradeswomen Issues, work to try to support women entering these pre-apprenticeship programs, apprenticeship programs, and then also in the jobs and the trades. And if you could just talk a little bit about what has been the impact of having a career in the trades on your life, and your ability to support yourself and your family.
Well, as a sheet metal worker, my life has greatly been impacted from being able to just be able to afford simple things. A lot of people during the pandemic, there was a lot of inflation on products and stuff, and I'd like to honestly say some things were, pretty high, but it really didn't hurt us being able to bring home those paychecks. It is also, my wife is also a tradesperson. She's a painter with the IUPAT. And she and I, this last summer, were able to treat our parents on a 7-day cruise to the Bahamas. So, and that for us was really huge because for all our young lives, they had raised us up. And we saw it was, it's time for us to start putting that back into our parents. We're very grateful that we were able to do that with the careers that we're in.
That's incredible. We at Equal Rights Advocates and with a lot of our partners do a lot of work around trying to close the gender and racial wage gap. And we know that one big contributor to the wage gap is this problem of occupational segregation, where women, particularly women of color, are predominating in minimum wage and low wage jobs that, as we all know, are not the family sustaining jobs. And most low wage workers have to work multiple jobs, and even then can barely make ends meet. And so the work that people are doing in the tradeswomen community to try to get more women into these jobs in the trades is important on an individual level for those individual women to make a better living and be able to support themselves and their families, but also is a really key strategy for trying to close the gender and racial wage gap. So I really appreciate you kind of lifting up just the economic security that having a job like this in the trades brings. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about, we see a lot of the barriers that women face to entering these jobs. As I mentioned at the start, the representation of women in the trades is dismal. At about 4% of people actually working with tools on the job sites, it's about 4%. We have advocated for changes in regulations, and there's a lot of hope right now in this current kind of moment of infrastructure funding and the jobs that it will create. And we at the National Task Force on Tradeswomen Issues are actively working to seize the moment and ensure that these millions of new good jobs will go to women who need them to economically support themselves and their families. But I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the ways that you and others have tried to support women on this pathway to a job in the trades.
Rochelle, my wife, and I have started a organization called DMV Tradeswomen here in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area, where we unite tradeswomen, whether union or non-union, and we build that community. Some tradeswomen may not have a women's committee within their trade, and they can find a home with us. We offer support with getting you the information or getting you tied to the right entities when it comes to child care, wage theft, transportation if need be, and if say someone that's just for women already in the trades, right? So say there's someone who's just interested, we also assist them getting all the knowledge they need, pointing in the right direction to what they need to do to prepare to be a part of that trade or apply for a trade. Last Friday, Rochelle and I were at a college fair, a career fair, and there were a lot of high school kids coming in, and to get into the trades, to at least apply, you have to be, to start working, you have to be 18. And a lot of those kids were coming in, they were 16 and 17, and I was letting them know, well, it's okay that you can't start working tomorrow, but this is just like taking that college tour. and figuring out your path and knowing which path you want to walk before the time is here. Because once it's here, then you don't have time to figure out and do this and the third. You want to have all that figured out already. So once you turn 18 and you know this is what you want, you already know what door to knock on or who to make a phone call to. So at DMV Tradeswomen, we try to align ourselves. Well, we do align ourselves with the trades, and we work with them to get people in, or get them the information they need.
That's so important, because we've heard from so many younger people who really have no idea of this as a career path that they might take. And so the work that you do at DMV Tradeswomen and a lot of the other organizational members of the National Task Force on Tradeswomen Issues all throughout the country do exactly the kind of thing that you're talking about, which is helping especially young people, but also adults, and women who really might not have been aware of this opportunity to earn as you learn in an apprenticeship, and then be able to get a well-paid job in the construction trades, and make sure that they're aware of those opportunities, and then give them the support they might need. We know that being the only woman or one of just a few women on a job site can be very isolating, and one can experience, and often does, unfortunately, discrimination and harassment. So the types of women's groups that you mentioned and organizations like DMV Tradeswomen can provide really important supports to women who are trying to enter the trades and those who are already in these jobs and need some support. So I just want to give you a shout out for the work you're doing, and also let people know about the other groups around the country that are doing this.
Thank you, Jessica. I really appreciate that. The work you're doing at the task force.
Well, I just want to thank you, Khalima, for coming on and really just sharing your story. We will be, for everyone watching, the National Task Force on Tradesmen Issues will be in DC later this week. So we will be lifting up a lot of the opportunities for our task force and those who want to support women in the trades to try to ensure that during this really historic moment of infrastructure funding and new jobs that are coming from that, there are really opportunities to engage and support these efforts to get more women into these higher paid jobs, ensure they can lead economically secure lives, and try to close the gender and racial wage gap that we know takes such a toll on women. So we will be sharing with all of you, our followers, information about how to learn more about the task force and support these efforts. And I just want to thank you so much, Khalima, for joining me today to talk about these issues and the work that you're doing.
Thank you so much, Jessica. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.